What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Ilia Topuria's team sends a warning to Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. A fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria has not been confirmed, but there's already plenty of bad blood between the two sides going back to last year, when Topuria said that if the two fought in the streets, he'd have to pay the lightweight champion's medical bills. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Now, ahead of Topuria's inevitable lightweight debut, his striking coach, Javier Mendez, has put both Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira on notice, letting the pair know during an interview with Colmenero that on the feet, neither of the two can hang with the former featherweight champion. I'm very clear that in striking, he Islam Makhachev, and even clearer that he Charles Oliveira. While the expectation right now is that Topuria will either fight Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title on the UFC 317 card or fight for the interim belt if Makhachev moves up to fight for the welterweight belt, the way Rampage Jackson sees things, Topuria will achieve whatever he sets his mind to. During the latest episode of the Jackson podcast, Rampage praised Topuria for backing up all of his talk.
Ilia Topuria is Topuria is that I can see how strong his mind is. Have you guys noticed that? Oh, the kid, whatever he says he's gonna do, he does it. Like if he's in an interview and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna knock this guy out in the first round," I'm gonna believe it now. He calls it and he does.
After running through two of the best featherweight champions in UFC history, it'll be interesting to see if Topuria can find the same success at 155. Dricus du Plessis will beat Khamzat according to training partner. Although Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev won't be throwing down on the International Fight Week card this summer, it sounds like it's only a matter of time before these two compete for DDP's middleweight title. While the MMA community has been going back and forth debating who they think will get the win, former one champ Rainier de Reuter has the unique advantage of having trained with both the champion and the challenger. As he explained to MMA Fighting, he thinks DDP will be able to weather the early onslaught of Chimaev and ultimately get the win. I've had some experience with both of the guys. I've trained with both of them. I'd say, especially in a 5-round fight, Khamzat is most likely going to come out guns blazing again, shoot right away, but Dricus is not that easy to take down. He moves very well, although it looks a bit funny at times. His footwork is not that bad. He gets out, he circles pretty well. I don't see Khamzat taking him down right away, and to be honest, I don't see Khamzat choking him out in the first round. I'm going with Dricus, but Khamzat would be cool too, if it gets it. But I think Dricus has a good chance. While fight fans had been holding out hope that the two would be headlining the International Fight Week card, Dana White confirmed that although the two would in fact be fighting next, they will not be headlining the UFC 317 card. Andre Petroski reveals the official pay from wearing VENOM gear in the UFC. He said that the first 3 UFC fights, they get paid $4,000 per fight, and once a UFC fighter competes 11 times wearing VENOM shorts, the pay increases to $11,000 per fight.
For your first 3 UFC fights, so you get $4,000. For after every fight, they'll give you $4,000. Then when you get to your 4th and 5th fight, you get $4,500. And then your 6 through 10, you get $6,000. After that, when your 11th to 15th fight, so I just had my 10th fight, so this will be my 11th fight, it goes up to $11,000.
Very nice, right? Yeah.
Which, I mean, dude, that's, if you fight 2-3 times a year, that's an extra 30 grand. Yeah. Like, that's good money.
What are your thoughts on this? Should UFC fighters be allowed to wear their own sponsored shorts? Bo Nickal explains huge weight gain. Ahead of his upcoming fight with Rainier de Reuter on this weekend's UFC Fight Night Des Moines card, Bo Nickal showed fans that he's heading into fight week at 222.6 pounds, 36 pounds over the middleweight non-title fight limit of 186 pounds. During an interview with MMA Fighting this week, Nickal explained that he's been bulking up so that he can enter the octagon as a true middleweight. And although he might have set himself up for a huge weight cut, he's not too worried about the situation. A big part of my last camp these last few months has been to bulk up. I felt like that's something that I wanted to focus on, was getting my weight a little higher and making sure that I'm a full-size middleweight. So coming in at the weight, it's just part of the job for me. Bringing the weight down is something that I'm used to. With wrestling, I've weighed in hundreds of times since I've been at a young age, and it's business as usual for me. So that was definitely a little more than what I'm used to, but part of the job, no worries. Nickal expressed a similar sentiment while speaking with Full Send MMA, saying, I might have went a little too far with the bulk, but it is what it is. We're here now. While it's no secret that Nickal's grappling is his biggest asset inside the octagon, Rainier de Reuter doubled down on his plan to force the NCAA legend to wrestle. During an appearance on SiriusXM's MMA Today, he shared his game plan for the fight. I got 15 minutes with the guy, I'll find his neck at some point, but I need to really bring it to him. I want to make that a spectacular fight. I need to put the pressure on him, and I need to engage into the wrestling. With fight night rapidly approaching, only time will tell how things will play out. Rampage Jackson talks about Kevin Holland beef. The beef between Rampage Jackson and Kevin Holland has continued to develop over the past year. While it appears that the beef was sparked by Rampage making a joke about Holland's UFC 299 stare down, things reached a breaking point when Holland appeared on the Jackson podcast a few months back, and the two exchanged verbal jabs in person. The situation led to Holland saying that he'd be willing to settle things the old-fashioned way, but that just escalated things, with Rampage getting increasingly mad at Trailblazer and ultimately dropping a diss track. During an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show on Wednesday, Rampage spoke about the situation, explaining that despite the beef, he thinks Holland is a talented fighter, albeit a distracted one. I think Kevin Holland could be a champion. I think he could be a really good fighter in his weight class, but it seems like he's not focused on it. He's focused on smoking, going out and playing with his 45-70, and stuff like being a black cowboy. I think that's what he's focused on, but I really think he's talented. So far, Holland has not reacted to Rampage's comments. However, considering that Trailblazer is known for speaking his mind, don't be surprised if he gets asked about the situation between now and his UFC 316 fight with Vicente Luque at the beginning of June. Stephen Thompson calls out Carlos Prates. Since being finished by Joaquin Buckley in October, there's been no real word on when Stephen Wonderboy Thompson will be returning to action. With back-to-back losses coming by way of stoppage, Wonderboy seems to be more interested in putting on exciting fights for fans rather than climbing back up the welterweight ladder. On the heels of Carlo Prates' decision loss to Ian Gary last weekend in Kansas City, MMA Today's RJ Clifford threw out the idea of a fight between Prates and Wonderboy while speaking with the former title challenger this week. Two strikers. It'll be a striking extravaganza. Me and Prates, we want the fight to stay standing. We want to see who the best striker is in the UFC. I think that would be an amazing fight. Carlos, will you please sign the contract? Let's get out there, have some fun, let's put on a show, let's punch each other in the face and go have a beer afterwards. Maybe a few cigarettes on your part. While he did come up short against the Future on Saturday, according to MMA Junkie, Prates did not receive any sort of extended medical suspension beyond the mandatory 7-day period, meaning he's eligible to return to action in just a few days. Given how active he's been since joining the UFC, if Prates is down to fight Wonderboy, expect the UFC to jump at the opportunity to book this clash of strikers. Khabib gives advice to Belal Muhammed. Over the past few years, Belal Muhammed has become a staple of Khabib Nurmagomedov's team. On top of all the world-class advice that the Hall of Famer has given Bully B in the gym, the Eagle also shared some wisdom that helped instill some deep-rooted confidence in the champ. During an onstage interview with Yakin Institute ahead of his fight with Jack Della Maddalena, Belal opened up on the best advice that Khabib's given him.
And the first time Khabib cornered me, he was so calm in the back room. He was smiling, and he was saying, brother, you worked hard. Now it's up to Allah. If He wants you to win, you're gonna win. If not, then there's a reason for it. You just have to trust it. And it just put like a sense of confidence inside of me where it just frees you. Free yourself from the result. Where I'm not afraid of getting embarrassed. I'm not afraid of losing or getting beat up. Because if it does happen, it's meant to happen.
He also opened up on how he got into MMA, explaining that after college, a Facebook post from one of his old coaches changed everything. I was going to college and I wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't plan on playing sports. I thought I would make it to the NBA, but I wasn't tall enough. I saw a post from my old wrestling coach, Lewis Taylor, on Facebook. I saw him fighting. I messaged him and he invited me to the gym. I started learning. I fell in love with the sport. The rest, as they say, is history. Ahead of the upcoming UFC 315 fight, Ian Gary's coach, Diego Lima, explained to MMA Fighting that although he's not expecting the Muhammad JDM fight to fall through, the future's preparing for a war, just in case he has to step in. We have to train for a war, to train as if we're fighting. The moment you're the backup fighter, that fight can get canceled. The important thing right now is to recover from the injuries, get some rest, and then go back to light training after 4 or 5 days. Move the body in training, do some light sparring. It's difficult because you have to train everything in time. They have two complete different styles. Fighting Belal is one thing, and Maddalena is totally different. We have to work on conditioning to get better for both in case something happens. I don't think this fight will fall off, but we have to go there expecting it to get canceled. While the fight is less than 2 weeks away now, as we've seen in the past, until these two fighters are in the octagon, anything can happen. Javier Mendez reveals why Khabib went after Dillon Danis. During a recent interview with Tracy Harmouche, Khabib Nurmagomedov's coach, Javier Mendez, revealed why Khabib went after Dillon Danis in the infamous UFC 229 post-fight altercation. Here's what Javier had to say.
He jumped the cage and went after his coaches. And I never asked him, believe it or not, I never asked him why he did that till a couple years after. I said, Habib, why did you go after the cage? And why did you go after Dillon Danis? He goes, well, coach, because his head coach, was too old and it would be disrespectful. So I had to go after Dillon. He was more my age. So I said, it was respect. Even in his anger, he went after Dillon. Yeah, he thought he couldn't touch the coach. He had to go after the younger one, and that was Dillon Danis. And Dillon was the one that was talking the most stuff anyway. So he was egging Habib on through the whole fight. So he did that because number one, the coach is too old and he couldn't attack him. So he went after the second one, yeah.
Johnny Walker praises Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev might have knocked out Johnny Walker last year when the two shared the octagon, but despite that, from the sounds of things, there's no bad blood between the two. During an appearance on the Versus podcast with Eric Nixick, Walker had nothing but good things to say about the champion, giving him props for knocking him out and for beating Alex Pereira.
Ankalaev is just very, very technical. This is high level. He's been training for a long time, and he was good. I fought him twice. My second fight, I beat him in the first round because you have to go put pressure on him. But I wasn't on the level to beat him yet because I lost. Right? Ankalaev is a champion level, and one little mistake can change the fight. So this is what I'm telling you. Like, you can knock a lot of guys outside of the rankings, but when you get there, you need to bring everything together to fight that guy.
After their initial no contest and then their rematch last January, Walker's been unable to get back in the win column, most recently falling to Volkan Oezdemir last summer. When the UFC heads to Newark, New Jersey for the UFC 316 card in June, Walker will look to get back in the win column against Azamat Murzakanov, who's heading into the bout in the midst of a 4-fight win streak. Dan Hooker reveals sad news on health. Recently, in an interview with Sky Sports, Dan revealed that the UFC was planning on him being the backup for UFC 318 for the Dustin Poirier vs. Max Holloway fight. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Unfortunately, Hooker revealed that he needs another surgery on his hand and is not able to fill in for that role. He plans on returning sometime in late August or September. Here's what he had to say. They wanted me to back up for Poirier versus Holloway. They wanted me to fight a lightweight on the card and back up for the BMF title. That would have been an incredible opportunity. Unfortunately, I need a second surgery on my hand. There's too much scar tissue. It's not a major surgery. They just need to cut it open and clean out some scar tissue. That would put me 9 weeks before this fight, so it would take a perfect storm for me to be able to be ready by then.